It was 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in mid-August when my wife's affair texts with my brother popped up on our 65-inch smart TV during movie night. And in that moment, watching her describe our bed as more comfortable than his truck, I felt something inside me go completely cold and silent. If you've got some time and maybe something to drink, settle in. This is going to take a while. So, why did I wait 4 months to do anything about it? Why did I smile and kiss her goodnight for 132 days while knowing she was sleeping with my own brother? Because I'm an accountant, and accountants don't make impulsive decisions. We plan, we document, we build airtight cases, and when we finally strike, we make damn sure it counts. This is the story of how my picture-perfect marriage imploded. How I discovered the two people I trusted most had been betraying me in the worst way possible. And how I made sure everyone, and I mean everyone, knew exactly who they really were. It starts with a happy couple in a small town, takes you through the kind of betrayal that makes your hands shake just remembering it, and ends at a Christmas dinner table with 43 people watching my wife's world burn down in real time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Michael Thompson. I'm 29 years old. I live in Riverside, Iowa, population 8,500. Where everyone knows everyone, and secrets don't stay secret for long. I'm a senior accountant at Anderson Manufacturing. I drive a sensible Honda Accord, and up until August 13th of this year, I thought I had a pretty good life. Great life, actually. I met Rachel in college back in 2017, University of Iowa, sophomore year, at some party I didn't even want to go to. She was studying education, I was deep in my accounting courses, and somehow we just clicked. She was beautiful, still is if I'm being honest, with this warm smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. She laughed at my terrible jokes. She didn't mind that I was the quiet, responsible type, while everyone else was out getting wasted. She said she liked that I was steady. Steady, that word's going to come back to haunt both of us. We dated through college, moved back to Riverside after graduation because it was home and the cost of living was reasonable. I got the job at Anderson Manufacturing. Ironic, since it's owned by Rachel's uncle, but I got it on my own merits, or at least I'd like to think so. Rachel got hired at Riverside Elementary, teaching 3rd grade. The kids loved her, parents loved her. Mrs. Thompson, the sweet teacher who baked cookies for bake sales and organized the Christmas pageant every year. We got married in 2019. Small wedding, mostly family, at the Methodist church both our families attended. My parents cried happy tears. Her parents gave a toast about how they'd always wanted a son-in-law like me. Responsible, kind, steady. There's that word again. My older brother Daniel was my best man, stood right next to me in his rented tux, gave a speech about how I was finally getting the girl, and how lucky I was. Everyone laughed. If you've ever ignored a red flag because you wanted to believe the best in someone, you know exactly how I felt looking back at that day. We bought a house in 2020. Nothing fancy, just a modest 3-bedroom ranch on Oakwood Drive. Rachel decorated it exactly how she wanted. Farmhouse chic, lots of white shiplap, and those wooden signs with inspirational quotes. Home is where the heart is. Gather, blessed. I installed a smart home system because I'm a tech guy, and I liked being able to control the lights and thermostat from my phone. Got a nice big TV for the living room, top of the line, connected to everything. That TV is going to be important later. Life was good. Predictable, maybe, but good. I went to work, came home. Rachel had usually started dinner. We'd watch TV together on the couch. Weekends we'd have my family over or her family over. Sunday dinners were a thing in both our families. Her parents, Susan and Tom Anderson, were these pillar of the community types. Her dad ran a farm supply business. Her mom volunteered at church. Devout Catholics, both of them, the kind who actually meant it. My parents, Margaret and Robert Thompson, were a little more laid back but still traditional. Dad worked in manufacturing his whole life before he retired. Mom was a school secretary. And then there was Daniel. Daniel's my older brother by 3 years, 32 to my 29. Growing up, he was always the golden child. Star athlete in high school, charismatic, the kind of guy everyone wanted to be friends with. I was the quiet one, the responsible one, the one who got good grades and never caused problems. Mom and Dad loved us both, I think. But there was always this sense that Daniel was special, and I was just steady. Daniel got married young, right out of high school, to a woman named Lisa. They had 2 kids together, a boy and a girl. But Daniel wasn't great at the whole marriage thing. He liked attention. He liked being the center of things. And apparently, he didn't like being tied down. They fought a lot. I remember family dinners where you could cut the tension with a knife whenever Lisa came along. February of this year, Daniel and Lisa got divorced. It had been coming for a while, but when it finally happened, Daniel was a mess. Or at least, he acted like he was. Showed up at my parents' house talking about how Lisa was too controlling and didn't understand him, and how he just needed some space to figure himself out. I felt bad for him. He's my brother. So when he started coming around more often, I didn't think anything of it. Rachel even encouraged it. He needs support right now, she said. Family should stick together. She offered to have him over for dinner a couple times a week. Said it would be good for him to be around a happy couple, see what a healthy relationship looked like. I should have seen it then. I really should have. But I didn't. Because I was too busy being steady, reliable Michael, who sees the best in everyone. Here's where things get worse. In March, Rachel and I decided to start trying for a baby. We'd been married 5 years. We were both approaching 30. It felt like the right time. Rachel was so excited. She started a Pinterest board with nursery ideas. We talked about names. She wanted to paint the spare bedroom yellow because it works for either a boy or a girl. April rolled around and Rachel told me she was pregnant. 6 weeks along, I cried. Actually cried, standing in our bathroom holding the positive pregnancy test. We told our parents that weekend at Sunday dinner. My mom hugged Rachel for about 5 minutes straight. Her parents brought out champagne, well, sparkling cider for Rachel, and her dad, Tom, made a toast about how blessed we were. Even Daniel seemed happy for us, gave me this big hug, and said something about how I was going to be a great dad. I started painting the nursery the next week, pale yellow like Rachel wanted. Took me 3 weekends because I'm meticulous about that kind of thing. Rachel would come in and watch me paint, one hand on her still flat stomach, talking about cribs and baby monitors and how excited she was. And then, in early May, she told me she'd had a miscarriage. She came home from school one day, May 3rd to be exact, and she was crying. I mean, really crying. That kind of crying where you can barely breathe. She said she'd started bleeding at school, went to the bathroom, and knew something was wrong. 11 weeks pregnant, just gone. I took the whole next week off work. First time I'd called in sick in 3 years. We stayed home together. Rachel cried a lot. I held her. We didn't talk much. What was there to say? Her mom came over with casseroles and prayers. My mom sent flowers. Everyone was so supportive, so loving. Rachel kept the ultrasound photo, put it on the fridge with a little magnet. I couldn't look at it without feeling this crushing weight in my chest. But she said she needed it there to remember, to honor what we'd lost. I had no idea, none, that it was all a lie. Through the late spring and into summer, things felt off, but I couldn't put my finger on why. Rachel was distant. She said she was still healing from the miscarriage, that she needed space. I understood, or I thought I did. She started going to bed earlier than me. She took her phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. When we'd sit on the couch watching TV, she'd have her phone face down on her lap. Daniel was around a lot, more than a lot actually. He'd show up 3-4 times a week. Just stopping by. Rachel always seemed happy to see him. They'd laugh at inside jokes I wasn't part of. A couple times I came home early from work and found Daniel's truck in the driveway. They'd be watching TV or just talking. Nothing that screamed affair, but something that felt off. My best friend Nathan asked me about it once. We were having beers at his place and he said, "Dude, doesn't it seem weird that Daniel's at your house all the time?" I got defensive. Told him Daniel was going through a divorce, that Rachel was just being nice. Nathan dropped it, but I could tell he wasn't convinced. Looking back, I can't believe I was that naive. But when you love someone, you want to believe them. You want to trust them. And I'd built my whole identity around being the good guy, the one who doesn't cause problems, the one who sees the best in people. I was the good son, the reliable one, the one who never caused problems. And that's exactly why they thought they could get away with it. Tuesday, August 13th. The day my whole world ended and my new one began. Rachel and I were on the couch watching Stranger Things. We were halfway through season 4, trying to catch up. It was a normal Tuesday night. I'd gotten home from work around 6, Rachel had made spaghetti, we ate dinner, cleaned up, settled in for TV around 9. Rachel's phone was in the bedroom charging. This is important. She'd gotten into the habit of leaving it there while we watched shows together. Said she wanted to be present with me. I thought it was sweet. Turns out it was strategic. 9:47 p.m. I'll never forget the exact time because it was on the screen when it happened. A notification popped up on our TV. Our smart TV is connected to our phones through this app. You can cast videos, sync calendars, all that. Rachel had connected her phone months ago and apparently never thought to disconnect it. The notification system was set to show message previews. The notification said, "Daniel, did he suspect anything yet? We need to be more careful." I stared at it, read it 3 times. The show was still playing, but I couldn't hear it anymore. Everything went sort of quiet and muffled, like my head was underwater. Rachel was in the kitchen getting popcorn. She hadn't seen it. The notification disappeared after a few seconds. They only show for maybe 5 seconds before vanishing. But I'd seen it. Every word burned into my brain. Before I could process it, another one popped up. "Rachel, no, he's clueless. He believed the miscarriage story completely, the miscarriage story. Our baby, the one I'd grieved for months, the one we told our families about, the one Rachel kept that ultrasound photo for. I couldn't breathe, literally couldn't catch my breath. My chest felt like someone had parked a truck on it." Rachel came back with the popcorn bowl, smiling. "Want some?" I said I had a headache. Said I needed to go to bed early. She looked concerned, felt my forehead, asked if I was getting sick. I told her I was fine, just tired, kissed her goodnight like a robot, and went to our bedroom. I sat on the edge of our bed, the bed they had apparently been using behind my back, and waited. My phone was connected to the same system. If messages popped up on the TV, I could see them on my phone too if I opened the app. 9:58 p.m. "Daniel, good, I'll come by tomorrow afternoon. He'll be at work, right?" 10:03 p.m. Rachel, "Yes, he's always at work till 5. I'll call in sick, tell him I have a migraine." At 10:07 p.m. "Daniel, can't wait. Your bed is so much more comfortable than my truck was, LOL." 10:12 p.m. Rachel, "I know, right? I kind of feel bad sometimes. Then I remember how boring he is in bed, and I read every message, all night, didn't sleep at all. Just sat there in the dark reading months of messages between my wife and my brother, and with every message, that cold, silent feeling from earlier grew bigger. They'd started in February, right after Daniel's divorce was finalized, February 15th to be exact. Daniel sent her a message. "You looked good today. Divorce agrees with you, I guess." Rachel responded with a blushing emoji and, "You were always the hot brother." It escalated fast. Coffee dates. Accidentally running into each other. By March, they were full-on flirting, sending photos I'm not going to describe here. March 8th, Rachel told Daniel she was pregnant. His response was, "Shit, are you sure it's his?" March 20th. "I took another test. I'm 8 weeks. Timeline-wise, it could be yours." April 15th. "I can't have this baby not knowing whose it is. I made an appointment at a clinic in Des Moines. Don't tell Michael." Daniel, "I'll drive you. Tell him you're visiting your sister." April 28th. The day Rachel came home crying about the miscarriage. The day I held her while she sobbed. I found the text from that actual day. Rachel, "It's done. I told Michael I miscarried at school. He's devastated." Daniel, "Better this way. Can you imagine the mess if you'd had it?" Rachel, "I know. I feel terrible lying, but this is easier. He's being so sweet, I actually feel guilty." Daniel, "Want me to come over? Make you feel better?" Rachel, "He took the week off work to be with me. Maybe next week." Next day, "He went back to work. Come over at 10? I read all of it. Every single message. There were hundreds, thousands maybe. They'd been sleeping together for months, in my house, in my bed, while I was at work, while I was at family dinners being the supportive little brother, while I was grieving a baby that may or may not have even been mine, a baby she'd aborted without even telling me there was a question about paternity. Around 4 in the morning, I went to the garage, sat in my car, screamed, not loudly, didn't want to wake Rachel, but I opened my mouth and just let it out silently. Then I cried, then I screamed again, then I just sat there, empty. I had a choice. I could confront them right then, storm out, blow everything up, let rage take over. Or I could be smart. I could document everything, build a case, make sure when I finally made my move, it was devastating and irreversible. The accountant in me won. I called in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. Rachel went to school like normal. I heard her getting ready in the bathroom, humming to herself like she didn't have a care in the world. She kissed me goodbye. Feel better, honey. Text me if you need anything. The second her car pulled out of the driveway, I got to work. First, I checked our cell phone plan online. We were on a family plan, both phones under my account. I pulled up the detailed usage logs, hundreds of texts to Daniel's number going back to February, calls too. Some of them an hour long. How had I not noticed? Because I trusted her, because I never thought to look. Then I remembered Rachel's iPad. We had an Apple family account. If she was signed into iMessage on her phone, she was probably signed in on the iPad too. I found it in her nightstand drawer, opened it, everything synced, every single message, photo, and video. I spent the next 6 hours reading the entire relationship unfold. It was methodical, cold. I took screenshots of everything, organized them by date in a folder on my laptop, encrypted the folder, named it Tax Documents 2024, so Rachel wouldn't be curious if she saw it. I found the evidence of the abortion, not just the messages, but a receipt. Rachel had saved a screenshot of a receipt from the clinic in Des Moines. $940, medical procedure, April 28, 2024. I found evidence they'd used our joint checking account. Rachel had transferred $2,000 to Daniel in March. When I'd asked about it, she'd said it was for school supplies. I'd believed her. I found photos. I won't describe them. Use your imagination. And I found conversations where they mocked me, made fun of me, called me boring, clueless, too nice for my own good. There was a whole thread about how I helped Daniel move furniture out of his old house, the house he'd shared with Lisa, and how stupid I was for not realizing what was happening literally under my nose. Rachel, he actually helped you move your bed, the same bed you're gonna fuck me in later? Daniel, your husband is such a fucking doormat. Makes it too easy. Reading that, I felt the last little piece of sadness die inside me. What replaced it was cold, calculated. Rage isn't even the right word. It was more like purpose. I made a decision. If I was going to destroy them, I needed to do it right. That meant I needed evidence they couldn't deny. Messages could be called fake, screenshots could be photoshopped. I needed video. I ordered security cameras on Amazon, 4 of them. Hidden cameras that looked like smoke detectors, alarm clocks, USB chargers, 2-day shipping. Then I called a lawyer, not just any lawyer, Amanda Rodriguez. She had a reputation in Riverside for being absolutely brutal in divorce cases. I set up a consultation under a fake name, paid cash, told her I was gathering information for a friend. She listened to my story, looked at some of the screenshots I'd brought. Her face stayed neutral, but her eyes got hard. Iowa is a no-fault divorce state, but we do allow fault-based divorce in cases of adultery, she said. With this kind of evidence, your friend would get everything. The house, retirement accounts, no alimony for her. She'd be lucky to walk away with her car. I thanked her. Made an appointment to come back in 2 weeks. That night, I went home. Rachel asked how I was feeling. I said better. She made dinner. We ate together, watched more Stranger Things. She fell asleep with her head on my shoulder. I sat there, wide awake, thinking about my plan. And for the first time since this started, I smiled. The cameras arrived 2 days later. Friday, August 16th. I installed them that weekend while Rachel was at a girls' brunch with her sisters. One in the living room, hidden in the bookshelf behind some books. One in the bedroom, inside a smoke detector. One in the kitchen. One in the hallway. All connected to an app on my phone. All recording to cloud storage. All completely invisible. Monday, August 19th, I told Rachel I had to work from home for a few days. Big audit coming up, need to focus. She looked disappointed but said, okay. Tuesday morning, she called in sick to school, said she had a migraine. 10:30 a.m., Daniel's truck pulled into our driveway. I was at Starbucks 3 blocks away, watching the live feed on my phone. Rachel answered the door wearing lingerie I'd never seen before. Daniel walked in. They kissed immediately, hands everywhere. They moved toward the bedroom. I couldn't watch the whole thing. I tried. I made it about 5 minutes before I had to put my phone down, but I kept the recording going. 27 minutes total. After, they laid in bed. My bed. The bed I'd picked out with Rachel at the furniture store. The bed I'd surprised her with on our second anniversary. Because her back hurt on the old one. The camera had audio. I could hear everything. Daniel? So when are you going to leave him? Rachel? Eventually. I'm waiting for the right time. I don't want to deal with all the drama. Michael would be devastated. Daniel laughed. Your husband is so fucking clueless. Remember when he helped me move last week? I literally looked at him loading my shit into his truck and thought, I'm fucking your wife tomorrow. Rachel? I know. Sometimes I feel bad. Then I remember how boring he is in bed, and I don't. I sat in that Starbucks parking lot, shaking, called Nathan. He came, drove me to his apartment because I couldn't trust myself to drive, showed him everything. Nathan's face went through about 50 emotions. Shock, horror, rage. I'm going to kill them, he said. Both of them. I'm going to fucking kill them. No, I said. I need to think. I stayed at Nathan's for 3 days, told Rachel I had an emergency work trip to Cedar Rapids. She texted me, miss you baby, while texting Daniel. Michael's gone until Friday. Come over every night. I cried a lot those first few days, screamed into pillows, broke down completely. But every time I felt myself slipping into just pure grief, I'd remember that message about the miscarriage, about how she'd laughed, actually laughed, about how completely I'd believed her, and the grief would harden back into purpose. Nathan kept asking me what I was going to do. Just divorce her, man. Take the evidence to a lawyer. You'll win, get the house, move on. No, I told him. That's too easy, too private. Everyone thinks Rachel is perfect. Sweet Mrs. Thompson, the elementary school teacher who bakes cookies. Daniel's the golden child, the charismatic one. I'm just boring, steady Michael. The plan came together over those 3 days, Christmas Eve specifically. Rachel's parents hosted every year, big dinner, 40+ people. Both families, extended family, the whole deal. Tom Anderson would give a toast about family and blessings. Susan would make her famous prime rib. Kids would run around. It was Norman Rockwell levels of wholesome. And I was going to burn it all down. I have 4 months, I told Nathan. 4 months to prepare. I'm going to document everything. I'm going to get my affairs in order. I'm going to make sure my case is airtight. And then, on Christmas Eve, in front of God and everyone, I'm going to make sure they never forget what they did. Nathan looked at me for a long time. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I went home that Friday, kissed Rachel hello. She'd made my favorite dinner, pot roast. We ate, watched a movie, made small talk about our days. She had no idea that in my laptop was a folder with screenshots of every message she'd ever sent my brother. She had no idea that hidden in our smoke detector was a camera that had filmed them together. She fell asleep early. I stayed up, looking at calendar. August to December, 130 days. I could do this. I'd been playing the good son, the reliable one, my whole life. What was 4 more months? The next morning, I went back to work like normal, smiled at my coworkers, finished the audit I'd been working on, went to my parents' house for Sunday dinner like we did every week. Daniel was there. He gave me a hug. Good to see you, little brother. I hugged him back. You too, man. Rachel held my hand under the table, laughed at Daniel's jokes, helped my mom clear dishes, and I sat there eating pot roast, thinking about Christmas. September through November was the longest 3 months of my life. I played the perfect husband, bought Rachel flowers for no reason, took her out to nice dinners, went to every school event she had. When she wanted to have sex, I did it. Honestly, that was the hardest part. Being intimate with someone who was actively betraying me, whose body I knew had been with my brother hours earlier. But I needed her to suspect nothing. So I performed, smiled, said I loved her. The cameras caught them together 19 times over those 4 months. 19 separate occasions where Daniel came over while I was at work, and they used my house, my bed, my home. I documented every single one, time, date, duration. Built a spreadsheet like the accountant I am. I continued seeing my lawyer. Amanda helped me file preliminary divorce paperwork, dated for December 25th. We separated our assets quietly. I opened a new bank account, redirected my paycheck, moved my 401k into an individual account. I documented every asset we owned, what I'd paid for versus what Rachel had paid for. The house down payment had been 100% my money. Every mortgage payment came from my account. I worked with Amanda to build an airtight case. Iowa law is pretty clear about fault-based divorce. With evidence of adultery, Rachel would get almost nothing. No alimony, no claim to the house or my retirement. She'd walk away with her car and whatever personal items she could carry. But it wasn't enough to just divorce her. I needed everyone to see who she really was. In October, I started building the presentation. I'm not a video editor, but I learned, watched YouTube tutorials, downloaded software, spent hours in my office, told Rachel I was working on a project for work, editing together a 12-minute video. The structure was simple. Part 1, our love story, wedding photos, happy moments, the ultrasound photo from the fridge, set to our wedding song, Thinking Out Loud, by Ed Sheeran. Part 2, the truth. Screenshots of messages between Rachel and Daniel starting from February 15th, organized chronologically. Each message on screen long enough to read clearly. Their words, their jokes, their plans. Part 3, the abortion. Messages from April about the pregnancy, the uncertainty, the decision, the lie, the receipt from the clinic, the messages from the day she came home, devastated about the miscarriage. Part 4, in our home, security camera footage. Not the explicit parts, I'm not a monster, but enough. Daniel arriving, Rachel answering the door in lingerie, them going to the bedroom, timestamps, dates, 19 separate occasions laid out like evidence in a trial. Part 5, what they really think. Audio clips from the recordings, them mocking me, calling me clueless, boring, a doormat. The music cut out after part 1. The rest played in silence except for their voices. Maximum impact. I tested it 20 times, made sure every screenshot was clear. Every timestamp was visible. Every piece of evidence was undeniable. I also made backups, saved everything to 3 different cloud services, put a USB drive in my safe deposit box at the bank, gave another copy to Nathan. If Rachel somehow destroyed my laptop, if Daniel tried to physically stop me, it wouldn't matter. The truth was out there, backed up, impossible to erase. Mid-October, I told my sister Emily what was happening. She's 26, teaches high school English, and we've always been close. I showed her the evidence. She cried, actual tears streaming down her face. Daniel did this? Our brother? Yeah. And Rachel? The miscarriage wasn't real? No, it was an abortion. Of a baby that might have been Daniel's. Emily put her head in her hands. Oh my God, Michael. I needed her on my side. Emily was my inside source for family information. She confirmed that Christmas Eve dinner was happening at Susan and Tom Anderson's farmhouse, like always. She gave me the guest list. 43 people confirmed. She promised to make sure I got a chance to play my special Christmas presentation without interference. She hugged me before I left. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Don't be sorry, just be there when it all goes down. November came. Thanksgiving was awkward, but I pushed through. We went to Rachel's parents' house. Daniel was there. We all sat around the table, held hands while Tom said, "Grace," thanked God for family and blessings. I thanked God I'd only have to do this one more time. Rachel posted pictures on Facebook. So grateful for this amazing family. She was smiling in every photo, my arm around her shoulder. The comments were full of people saying we were couple goals and asking when we were going to have kids. If you've ever had to sit at a table with people who betrayed you and act like everything's fine, you know the kind of strength it takes. Or maybe it's not strength. Maybe it's just pure spite holding you together. By December 1st, everything was ready. The video was done. The divorce papers were filed, ready to be officially submitted. December 25th. My assets were protected. My lawyer was on standby. Nathan knew his role. Bring the backup laptop, block the exits if Daniel tried to leave early. Emily had confirmed the schedule. Dinner at 5 p.m. Dinner would last about 90 minutes. Dessert and coffee around 7. Then Tom Anderson traditionally asked if anyone had anything to share before everyone headed to Christmas Eve service at church. That's when I'd make my move. Rachel spent the first 3 weeks of December planning. She bought a new dress for Christmas Eve, red, festive. She baked cookies to bring to her parents' house, made a grocery list for ingredients she needed to make her famous green bean casserole that everyone always requested. She was so excited, kept talking about how much she loved Christmas, how special this year felt. I smiled and agreed with everything she said. December 24th arrived cold and clear. I woke up around 6 a.m., couldn't sleep. Rachel was still asleep next to me, her hair spread across the pillow. She looked peaceful, innocent, like someone who wasn't about to have their entire world destroyed in about 13 hours. I got up, made coffee, sat in the kitchen with my laptop, opened the video one more time, watched it through, checked that all the files were where they needed to be, triple-checked my backups. Nathan texted me at 8, "You still doing this?" Me, "Yes." "Nathan, I'll be there, got your back." Emily texted at 9, "Mom asked me to come early and help set up. I'll make sure the TV and laptop are ready to go. Are you okay?" Me, "I'm fine, see you at 5. Rachel woke up around 10, came into the kitchen wearing my old college sweatshirt, looking sleepy and beautiful, kissed my cheek. "Merry Christmas Eve, baby." "Merry Christmas Eve." We spent the day doing normal Christmas Eve things, watched holiday movies. She wrapped last-minute presents. I pretended to read a book, but mostly just watched the clock. Around 3 p.m., Rachel went to shower and get ready. I heard her singing in the bathroom. She was happy. She had no idea. I got dressed, button-down shirt, nice slacks, nothing too fancy. Packed my laptop in its bag. Rachel asked what the laptop was for. "I made a little slideshow," I said. "Thought it would be nice to share with the family. Look back on our year." Her face lit up. "Oh my God, that's so sweet. I didn't know you were doing that." "Wanted to surprise you." She kissed me. "You're the best husband." We drove separately to her parents' house. Rachel wanted to go early and help her mom cook. I told her I'd meet her there around 4:30. She left with her green bean casserole in a dish, still in her new red dress, humming Christmas carols. I sat in my driveway for 10 minutes after she left, hands on the steering wheel. This was it, the point of no return. Once I did this, there was no taking it back. Rachel's life would be destroyed. Daniel's reputation would be ruined. Both our families would be torn apart. Christmas would never be the same. I started the car and drove to the Anderson farmhouse. Susan and Tom Anderson's place was exactly what you'd picture. Big white farmhouse, wraparound porch, Christmas lights on every surface. Inside, the dining room had been expanded with extra tables to seat everyone. Christmas tree in the corner, fire in the fireplace, Bing Crosby playing on the stereo. I arrived at 4:45. Cars were already filling the driveway. I recognized all of them. My parents' sedan, Daniel's truck, Rachel's sisters' SUVs, aunts, uncles, cousins, 43 people, all about to witness what I was about to do. I grabbed my laptop bag and went inside. The house smelled like prime rib and cinnamon. Kids were running around already high on sugar. Rachel's grandmother was in her usual chair by the fire. Tom Anderson was at the bar making drinks. Susan was in the kitchen with Rachel and her sisters, all of them working on side dishes. Rachel saw me come in and smiled, came over and kissed me. "There you are. Come help me with the rolls." I helped with the rolls, made small talk with her dad about work, accepted a beer from my own dad, hugged my mom. She asked if I was feeling okay, said I looked pale. "Just tired from work," I lied. "Big end-of-year push." Daniel showed up around 5:15, fashionably late as always. He walked in like he owned the place, big smile, hugging everyone. When he got to me, he put his arm around my shoulder. "Little brother, Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas, Daniel." We took our seats for dinner at 5:30. The tables were arranged in a big U shape. Rachel and I sat together on one side. Daniel sat with our parents on the other side, right across from us. Perfect view. Tom Anderson stood at the head of the table and said, "Grace." We all held hands. He thanked God for family, for blessings, for another year together. Asked God to watch over us all in the coming year. I almost laughed. The irony was too much. Dinner was the usual. Prime rib, mashed potatoes, Rachel's green bean casserole, rolls, about 15 different side dishes. People talked and laughed. Kids spilled things. Someone's aunt made a slightly inappropriate joke about eggnog. Normal family chaos. I barely ate. Pushed food around my plate. Rachel kept asking if I was okay. I kept saying I was fine, just full. Around 7, dessert came out. Pies, cookies, coffee. The kids got sent to the living room to watch a Christmas movie. The adults stayed at the table, talking, sipping coffee and brandy. Tom Anderson stood up and tapped his glass. The traditional Christmas Eve speech. He talked about family, about gratitude, about how blessed they all were. Then he opened the floor. "Does anyone have anything they'd like to share before we head to service?" Emily jumped in. "Actually, Michael made something special. A video looking back on this year." Everyone turned to look at me, smiles all around. Rachel looked delighted. "I forgot you were going to show that." I stood up. "Yeah, I put together a little presentation, just some highlights from 2024. If everyone doesn't mind, I can hook up my laptop to the TV." Tom: "Of course, that sounds wonderful." The TV was in the dining room, big screen mounted on the wall. Perfect. I connected my laptop. The room was still buzzing with conversation. People were curious but not paying full attention yet. I opened the video file. Nathan had arrived late and was standing by the dining room door. Emily was at the other exit, both blocking escape routes without being obvious about it. "Okay, everyone ready?" I asked. Rachel squeezed my hand under the table. "This is so sweet, honey." I hit play. The screen filled with our wedding photo. Rachel in her white dress, me in my tux, both of us smiling. Our wedding song started playing softly. The room went quiet. People smiled. Someone said, "Aw." More photos. Us on vacation, at family dinners, Rachel with her students, me at company events, happy couple moments, the kind of photos you put on Christmas cards. Then the ultrasound photo appeared, the one that had been on our fridge for months. The room got quieter, confused. Why was Michael showing this? Text appeared on screen. In April, we found out Rachel was pregnant. Murmurs around the table, people looking at each other. Rachel's hand tightened on mine. "Michael, what are you doing?" Next slide. May 3rd, Rachel told me she had a miscarriage. Photo of Rachel crying in my arms. I'd taken it that night. To remember our grief, I'd thought. Susan Anderson put her hand to her mouth. "Oh, Michael, honey, you don't have to." "Actually," I said, "I think everyone should see this." Next slide. The truth. The music stopped. The first text screenshot appeared. Daniel to Rachel. "Did he suspect anything yet? We need to be more careful." The room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Rachel: "No, he's clueless. He believed the miscarriage story completely." The laughing emoji on the big screen for 43 people to see. "Michael," Rachel started standing up. "Sit down," I said. Not loud, not angry, just cold. "We're not done." More screenshots. Rapid fire now. Dates visible in the corner of each one. February 15th. You were always the hot brother. March 8th. I'm pregnant. It's Michael's. March 20th. Timeline-wise, it could be yours. Around the table, people were reading, gasping. Someone said, "Oh my God." Margaret, my mother, was staring at the screen with her mouth open. Robert, my father, had gone completely still. Daniel stood up. "What the fuck is this?" "This," I said, still calm, "is the truth." Next section, the abortion. April 15th. I can't have this baby not knowing whose it is. I made an appointment. April 28th, the day it happened. It's done. I told Michael I miscarried at school. Rachel's grandmother, 84 years old, devout Catholic, gasped so loud it echoed. "An abortion? You had an abortion?" Susan Anderson was crying now. "Rachel, Rachel!" But we weren't done. Security camera footage started playing, timestamps in the corner. August 19th, 10:32 a.m. Daniel's truck pulling into my driveway. Rachel answering the door in black lingerie. Them kissing, moving toward the bedroom. I'd edited out the explicit parts. Didn't need to show that, but the implication was crystal clear. Next clip. September 5th. Same thing. Next clip. September 23rd. October 7th. October 19th. I'd compiled all 19 occasions into a rapid montage. Different dates, same pattern. While I was at work, thinking my wife was home grading papers or lesson planning, she was fucking my brother. The audio kicked in, their voices from the bedroom. Daniel, when are you going to leave him? Rachel, eventually, I don't want to deal with the drama. Daniel, your husband is so fucking clueless. Rachel, I know, sometimes I feel bad. Then I remember how boring he is in bed, and I don't. My mother started crying, actually sobbing. My father had his hand over his mouth. Susan Anderson was on her feet screaming, Rachel, how could you? Tom Anderson, the man who'd just given a speech about family and blessings, was staring at his daughter like he'd never seen her before. Rachel was standing now, face white, shaking. Michael, stop this. You have no right. No right? I closed the laptop. I have no right to show people who you really are? Final slide. I'd saved it for last. I filed for divorce this morning. Merry Christmas. The room exploded. Rachel lunged at me, but Emily caught her. You bastard! You had no right to record us. This is illegal. Actually, I said, in Iowa, it's legal to record in your own home without consent. I checked with my lawyer. Daniel tried to push past Nathan toward the door. Nathan blocked him. Going somewhere? Robert Thompson, my father, walked over to Daniel. I'd never seen my dad look like that. Pure rage. Get out of my sight, right now. Daniel. Dad, listen. Robert, I don't have a son named Daniel anymore. Get out. Margaret was still crying. She looked at Daniel. How could you do this to your brother? Your own brother? Susan Anderson walked up to Rachel and slapped her, hard, across the face. First time she'd ever hit her daughter in 28 years. You aborted a baby? You lied about a miscarriage? In our faith, do you understand? Tom Anderson was just sitting at the table, head in his hands. Rachel's sisters were backing away from her. One of them, Jennifer, said, You did this? At Christmas with Michael's brother? Daniel was still trying to get past Nathan. This is bullshit. Michael's a boring piece of shit. She needed a real man. I looked at him, really looked at him. A real man doesn't fuck his brother's wife, in his brother's bed, while his brother is at work. Merry Christmas, Daniel. I picked up my laptop and walked out. Behind me, chaos. Screaming, crying. Rachel's voice. Mom, please, I'm sorry. Susan's voice. Get out of my sight. I don't know who you are. I walked to my car. Nathan followed me out. Emily came out a minute later. You okay? Nathan asked. My hands were shaking. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, but I felt lighter, like I'd been carrying a weight for 4 months and had finally put it down. Yeah, I said. I'm okay. Emily was crying. Mom and Dad are destroyed. Daniel tried to fight Dad. They're both leaving. Christmas is completely ruined. Good, I said. And I meant it. I drove to Nathan's apartment, sat on his couch. My phone started exploding. 87 missed calls in the first hour. Over 200 texts. From Emily. Daniel left. No one knows where he went. Mom and Dad are still at the Andersons. Mom won't stop crying. From my mother. Michael, please come home. Please. We need to talk. From Rachel, 45 messages ranging from, I'm so sorry, to, you're a monster, to, please, we can fix this, to, I hate you. From Daniel, you turned our entire family against me, you piece of shit. You're dead to me. From cousins, aunts, uncles, most of them supportive. Holy shit, that was brutal. I always knew Rachel was fake. Daniel's always been a selfish asshole. Rachel's family group, chat that I was somehow still in. Her grandmother. I cannot believe what I saw tonight. The abortion, in our faith. I'm ashamed. Her mother, Susan. I raised you better than this. I don't know how to look at you. I turned my phone off, sat in silence. Nathan made me a drink. You really did it. Yeah, I did. How do you feel? Honestly, I didn't know. Satisfaction mixed with horror, relief mixed with guilt. I'd wanted them exposed. I'd wanted everyone to see who they really were. Mission accomplished. But the look on my mother's face, the sound of Susan Anderson's voice breaking when she screamed at Rachel. Ask me tomorrow, I said. The fallout was worse than I'd imagined. And I'd imagined it would be bad. Christmas Day, I woke up at Nathan's apartment to discover my phone had completely melted down overnight. When I finally turned it back on, there were over 300 notifications. Emily sent me updates throughout the day. Christmas is canceled. Everyone just went home. Mom's in bed, won't come out. Dad's been in the garage since midnight, just sitting in his car. Daniel packed a bag and checked into a motel. Won't answer anyone's calls. My parents called. I answered. My mom was still crying. Michael, we're so sorry. We had no idea. We should have seen it. We should have protected you. Mom, it's okay. It's not your fault. But Daniel is our son, and we failed you. We always favored him, and now... She broke down completely. My dad got on the phone. Your mother and I talked. Daniel is not welcome in this house until he makes this right with you. If that's ever. We're on your side, son. I'd never heard my dad's voice crack before. Rachel's parents called too, Tom and Susan together on speakerphone. Susan was crying. Michael, we're so ashamed. We raised her to have values, to respect marriage, to honor God. And she did this. An abortion, the lies. We don't even know who she is. Tom, we understand why you did what you did. We're not angry at you. We're devastated for you. By December 26th, the story had spread through Riverside like wildfire. Population 8,500. Everyone knows everyone. And apparently everyone now knew about Rachel and Daniel. Someone posted about it vaguely on Facebook. My cousin Jake. Wildest family drama I've ever witnessed at Christmas dinner. Y'all would not believe this. He didn't share details, but he tagged the location. That was enough. By the 27th, the whispers had turned into full gossip. Someone, I never found out who, leaked that Rachel Thompson, the elementary school teacher, had an affair with her husband's brother. Another person mentioned there was video evidence shown at Christmas dinner. Rachel's Facebook and Instagram were public. The comments started flooding in. Homewrecker. How can you teach children when you have no morals? You're disgusting. Rachel deleted all her social media by noon on the 27th. The church community found out. Riverside Methodist, where both our families went every Sunday. Pastor Mitchell called me. Michael, I heard what happened. I'm so deeply sorry. If you need counseling, spiritual guidance, anything, we're here. I thanked him, asked if Rachel had been in touch. He hesitated. She came to my office yesterday. She was in very bad shape. I tried to offer guidance, but she left upset when I suggested she take responsibility and make amends. The congregation sided with me. The wrong spouse. The victim. Rachel stopped going to church. Couldn't face the stares, the whispers, the judgment. December 28th, Rachel got a call from her principal. Paul Warren. I know because she called me, hysterical, begging me to talk to him. Michael, please. He's saying the school board wants to meet with me. Parents are complaining. Please, you have to tell them this is just our personal business. No, I said. I'm not doing anything for you. She sobbed, hung up. I found out later what happened. The school board called a meeting for January 2nd. 6 board members, the superintendent, Rachel, and her union rep. The issue, moral turpitude clause in her teaching contract. Conduct unbecoming of an educator. Parents had already started a petition. 47 signatures requesting Rachel's removal. We don't want someone with her values teaching our children. She lied about losing a baby and had an abortion. What kind of morals is she teaching? Rachel tried to defend herself. My personal life is separate from my professional life. The board disagreed. In a community this size, there is no separation. You're a role model for these children. You've lost the trust of parents, of this community, of this board. They gave her an option, resign voluntarily or be formally terminated with cause. If she resigned, it wouldn't go on her permanent record. If they fired her, it would. She resigned January 3rd, effective immediately, forfeited her end-of-year bonus, lost her $42,000 a year salary, and in a town this small, where everyone talks, no school within 100 miles would hire her after this. Emily told me Rachel moved back in with her parents, wasn't leaving her childhood bedroom, just stayed in there, curtains drawn, barely eating. Daniel faced consequences too. He worked as a construction supervisor for Morrison Construction. Frank Morrison was the owner, 65 years old, religious, old-school values kind of guy. His company mission statement literally included the phrase, family and integrity. January 4th, Daniel went back to work after the holidays. The crew knew. Frank Morrison's secretary went to our church. She'd heard everything. Frank called Daniel into his office. We need to talk about what happened over Christmas. Daniel. That's my personal life. Has nothing to do with my job. Frank, you're a supervisor. You represent this company. What you did, sleeping with your brother's wife, clients are asking me about it. I can't have that. Daniel was given a choice. Step down from supervisor to regular crew, take the pay cut, $18,000 a year less, or leave. Daniel quit. Fuck this town. He moved to Des Moines, 90 miles away. Got a job with another construction company for less money. Started drinking more than he already did. But the worst consequence for Daniel was his kids. He had 2 children from his first marriage, a boy, 8 years old, a girl, 6. His ex-wife Lisa had primary custody. He had visitation every other weekend. Lisa took the Christmas scandal straight to her lawyer, filed for custody modification. Her argument, Daniel was morally unfit to have unsupervised access to the children. The court agreed, reduced his visitation to supervised only. 2 Saturdays a month, 2 hours each time, at a supervised visitation center. His kids started asking questions. Why did you do that to Uncle Michael? Grandma says you're a bad person now. Daniel tried to stay in contact with our parents. They refused to see him. My mom, until you apologize to your brother and make this right, I don't have a son named Daniel. Emily blocked his number completely. Wanted nothing to do with him. For the first time in his life, Daniel, the golden child, the favorite, the charismatic one, was completely alone. And then came the moment that made me question everything. January 7th. I was at work when Emily called, panicking. Rachel's in the hospital. She tried to kill herself. Everything stopped. What? Her mom found her this morning. She took sleeping pills, a lot of them. They rushed her to county hospital. She's alive, but they had to pump her stomach. They're putting her on a 72-hour psych hold. I sat at my desk, phone to my ear, unable to process what I was hearing. Nathan, who was over at my place when Emily called, said later I went completely white. This isn't on you, man. She made her choices. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. What if she died? Everyone would have blamed me. Hell, part of me was already blaming me. I wanted her to face consequences. I wanted her exposed. I wanted her to lose her perfect image and her perfect life and everyone's respect. But I didn't want her dead. Dr. Patricia Moore, the therapist I'd been seeing since September, said in our next session, "You revealed the truth. What Rachel chose to do with that truth, how she chose to respond, that's on her, not you. You can't control other people's reactions to their own actions." But it didn't feel that simple. I went to the hospital, against Nathan's advice, against my better judgment. Stood outside the psych ward and watched through the window. Rachel was sedated, lying in a hospital bed, looking small and broken. Her mother, Susan, was outside the room. She saw me, didn't yell, didn't blame me, just looked tired. "I don't blame you, Michael," she said quietly. "You had every right to tell the truth, but please, no more. She's broken. She's my daughter, and she's broken." I nodded, left, drove home, and sat in my driveway for an hour, hands on the steering wheel, thinking about what I'd done. I'd gotten my revenge. They'd both lost everything. Rachel had lost her job, her family's respect, her community, her mental health. Daniel had lost his family, his kids, his career advancement, his reputation. But standing in that hospital hallway, I wondered if I'd lost something too. The version of myself who wouldn't have destroyed someone so completely. The divorce was finalized on February 14th, Valentine's Day. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Rachel didn't contest it. Couldn't, really. The evidence was overwhelming. Adultery, fault-based divorce in Iowa. My lawyer, Amanda Rodriguez, had built an airtight case. Settlement terms. I kept the house. I'd paid the entire down payment. Every mortgage payment came from my account. I kept my 401k, my retirement savings. I kept our joint savings account. Rachel got her car, her personal belongings. That was it. No alimony. The adultery clause made sure of that. In a moment of guilt, or maybe just wanting to feel less like a monster, I offered her $5,000 as a goodwill settlement. Amanda advised against it, said I didn't owe Rachel anything, but I did it anyway. "You won," Amanda said when the papers were signed. "Completely. Doesn't feel like winning," I told her. Just feels Over. The next few months were about rebuilding. I started seeing Dr. Moore weekly, worked through the betrayal trauma, the family dysfunction, my pattern of conflict avoidance that had let this happen in the first place. You spent your whole life avoiding conflict because you thought that made you good, she said in one session. But it just made you a doormat. Being kind doesn't mean being a pushover. We did EMDR therapy for the trauma, processed the images I couldn't get out of my head, the text on the TV screen, the security footage, the look on Rachel's face that night. I read books. No More Mr. Nice Guy hit especially hard. Joined a men's support group for divorced guys dealing with infidelity. Heard stories worse than mine, some better, all painful. I started running, needed an outlet for stress, started sleeping better by April. My relationship with my parents actually got stronger. We had family therapy together, 3 sessions. They apologized for favoring Daniel growing up, said they were proud of me for standing up for myself, ashamed of Daniel for what he'd done. Sunday dinners continued, but they were smaller now. Just me, Mom, Dad, and Emily. Sometimes Emily's boyfriend, quieter, but more real. March brought a promotion at work, senior accountant to accounting manager, $78,000 a year, up from $68. New responsibilities, leadership role. I threw myself into it, worked long hours, found purpose in the structure and logic of numbers. Started a financial blog anonymously. Calculated decisions. Shared my story, helped others dealing with financial abuse in relationships. May, I started volunteering, became treasurer for the local domestic violence shelter, gave financial literacy workshops for abuse survivors, taught them how to protect their assets, spot financial red flags, rebuild after leaving. Helping others made the pain feel less pointless. Nathan kept pushing me to get back out there. You can't hide forever, man. You're 29. Your life's not over. In May, he convinced me to try a dating app, Hinge. I hated it at first, felt weird, artificial. But I matched with a woman named Jessica, 31, nurse at Iowa City Hospital, lived in the next town over. We met for coffee in June. She knew nothing about my story. Didn't know me, didn't know Riverside, didn't know the drama. It was refreshing. We talked for 3 hours. She was funny, kind, normal. No red flags that I could see, though I'll admit I was looking hard. We went on a few more dates, nothing serious. I wasn't ready for serious, but it proved to myself that I could trust again, even a little, that I could sit across from someone and not assume they were lying. By August, exactly 1 year after finding those texts on the smart TV, I was sitting in my backyard one evening, watching the sunset, alone. No girlfriend, no wife, no family drama, just me. And for the first time in my life, I was okay with that. I'd learned to set boundaries, to value myself, to not accept scraps of affection from people who didn't respect me. Was I happy? Not entirely. Still healing, still processing, still had nights where I'd wake up angry or sad or both. But I was better, stronger, more myself than I'd ever been. Where are they now? You're probably wondering. Rachel moved to Omaha, Nebraska in September, 200 miles away, far enough from Riverside that she wouldn't run into people who knew her story. She got a job at Target, 40-hour weeks for $13 an hour, a massive step down from teaching 3rd grade. She lives in a small 1-bedroom apartment. According to Emily, who keeps loose tabs through mutual acquaintances, Rachel's in therapy, sober, trying to rebuild some kind of life. Her mother Susan talks to her occasionally now. Her father Tom still barely speaks to her. Her grandmother refused to see her for months. They've only recently reconciled enough for brief phone calls. Her sisters maintain minimal contact, birthday texts. That's about it. She's single, struggling with depression, takes medication for it. I heard through the grapevine that she's doing better than she was. I hope that's true. I don't wish her dead. I don't wish her suffering forever. I just wish her out of my life. And she is. Daniel's still in Des Moines, still in construction, different company, making less money than before. His alcoholism got worse. 2 DUIs in 2025. Lost his license for 6 months. The custody situation with his kids deteriorated further. They're old enough now to have opinions. They've told the court-appointed counselor they don't want to see him. Even supervised visits are spotty. His ex-wife Lisa is considering asking for termination of his parental rights if he gets another DUI. Our parents still refuse contact unless he apologizes to me. He won't. Too proud. Or too ashamed. Maybe both. He tried to reach out once. Drunk text at 2 a.m. I'm sorry, bro. I fucked up. I miss you. I miss the family. I blocked his number. I don't know if Daniel will ever change. I don't know if he'll hit bottom and finally get help. I don't know if we'll ever speak again. That's not my problem anymore. It's December again now. Almost Christmas. 1 year since the dinner. I'm in a better place, still seeing Jessica. We're getting serious, actually. She knows the whole story now. I told her around October, when things started getting more real between us. She listened, didn't judge, said, "That's a lot to go through. I'm sorry that happened to you." She didn't say I should forgive them, didn't say I went too far. Just acknowledged the pain and moved on. That's what I needed. This Christmas will be different, smaller. Nathan's hosting dinner at his place. Me, Jessica, Emily, and her boyfriend, a few other friends. My parents are doing their own thing. They're not ready for big family gatherings yet. No Rachel, no Daniel, no drama. Just people who actually give a damn about each other. Do I regret what I did? That's the question everyone asks. Do you regret the public exposure? Do you regret destroying them at Christmas dinner in front of everyone? Parts of it, yes. The public humiliation went further than I intended. I didn't expect Rachel's suicide attempt. That haunts me. The look on my mother's face. The pain I caused people who were innocent bystanders. But do I regret exposing them? No. They made choices. Every single day for 11 months, they chose to betray me, to lie to me, to use my home, my bed, my trust against me. Rachel chose to abort a baby, whether it was mine or Daniel's, and then make me grieve a miscarriage that never happened. They chose to mock me, call me boring, call me clueless. I just made sure everyone else saw the truth. I learned something through all this, being the good one, the reliable one, the one who never causes problems. That doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It doesn't mean accepting lies and betrayal in the name of keeping the peace. I set boundaries now, hard ones. I don't tolerate lying in relationships. I don't ignore red flags for the sake of avoiding conflict. I don't sacrifice my dignity to keep other people comfortable. I sold that smart TV, by the way, the one where I first saw those texts. Bought a new one. Couldn't look at the old one without remembering. Some people ask if I'd take Rachel back if she apologized. Properly apologized. Showed real remorse. The answer is no. Not because I hate her. Not because I'm incapable of forgiveness, but because I finally love myself enough not to. I was the good son, the reliable one, the one who never caused problems. I spent my whole life being that person, thinking it made me noble. Now, I'm just me, Michael Thompson, 29 years old, divorced, accountant, volunteer, someone who stands up for himself, someone who knows his worth. I didn't get a perfect ending. Happily ever after doesn't exist outside of Disney movies. I got scars, therapy bills, trust issues I'm still working through, but I also got honesty. I got dignity. I got the knowledge that when someone crosses my boundaries, I won't just smile and accept it. And that's enough. That's actually more than enough. So, if you're out there and someone's betraying you, lying to you, making you feel crazy for questioning what you know is true, trust yourself. Document everything. Protect yourself. And when the time is right, don't be afraid to let people see the truth, not for revenge, not to destroy someone, but because you deserve better, because the truth matters, because being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. I learned that the hard way, but at least I learned it. Merry Christmas. And if you've made it this far in the story, thanks for listening. Sometimes you just need to tell someone what happened. Get it out there. Let it go. I'm working on that last part, but I'll get there. I always do.